in the humid backstreets of Tondo, Manila, where the scent of frying fish balls mixed with diesel smoke and the chatter of jeepneys filled the air, a thin boy named Eli spent most of his days collecting discarded bottles. His hands were rough, his feet calloused, and his clothes, no matter how much he washed them in the brown water of the canal, never looked clean. But what people always noticed first was not his tattered shirt or his sunburned skin, it was his voice. Eli was only 14, but when he sang, the whole neighborhood stopped. Vendors paused in mid-sale. Children playing basketball on cracked pavements dropped their ball. Even the tricycle drivers, who rarely stopped for anything, would turn down their radios just to listen. There was something in his voice, an ache, a depth, that seemed too old for a boy his age. He often sang, while sorting through trash, his voice echoing down the narrow alleyways. The song he loved most was Hotel California. He didn't really understand all the lyrics, but the melody made him feel free, like the music could lift him above the poverty that weighed on him every day. Eli lived with his grandmother, Lola Mercy, in a small shanty patched with tin sheets and old posters his parents had left for work in Dubai when he was 6, promising to return soon. But years passed with only a few letters and remittances that eventually stopped coming. Lola Mercy sold dry sticks in the market, her hands trembling from arthritis, yet she never complained. God provides, she would whisper every night, and Eli would sing her to sleep to help her forget the pain. One day, while singing by the roadside to earn a few pesos from passing strangers, a foreign man stopped. He was tall, wearing sunglasses and holding a camera. Eli thought he might be another tourist taking pictures of the slums, so he kept singing, his eyes down, his voice trembling with emotion. The man didn't take photos. He listened, really listened. When Eli finished, the man walked closer and said softly, "You have a gift, kid." Eli smiled shyly. "Thank you, sir. What's your name?" "Eli." "Oh." The man extended his hand. "I'm Mark. I work with a music show in the US. You know America's Got Talent." Eli's eyes widened. He'd seen clips on old phones at the internet shop, the flashing lights, the golden buzzer, the cheering crowd. It felt like a dream world, one far away from the noise of tricycles and the smell of garbage. "I think you should audition," Mark said. "We are holding tryouts in Manila next week. If you are willing, I can help you get in." Eli didn't know what to say. He wanted to believe him, but years of disappointment had taught him not to expect too much. Still, that night, when he told Lola Mercy, she clasped his hands with tears in her eyes. "Anak," she whispered, "maybe this is God's plan. You sing for him, and maybe he will open the doors." The next week, Eli borrowed a clean white polo from his neighbor, and washed his jeans twice. He and Lola took a jeepney to the mall where the auditions were held. He could barely afford the fare, but Lola had sold every rice cake that morning to make sure they could go. Inside the mall, hundreds of hopefuls lined up, singers, dancers, magicians. Eli clutched his small guitar, and looked around nervously. He felt small, out of place, surrounded by people with fancy clothes and confident smiles. When it was his turn, he stepped onto the stage with trembling hands. "What will you sing today?" asked the local producer. Eli took a deep breath. "Hotel California" by the Eagles. "Oh." The guitar strings buzzed slightly as he strummed. At first, his voice wavered. The judges exchanged glances. Then, something shifted. He closed his eyes, and sang from his soul. His voice carried the sadness of lost dreams, the hope of a boy clinging to faith in the middle of hardship. The small crowd that had gathered went silent. Even the security guard stopped to listen. By the end of the song, there were tears in the audience. One of the judges said, "We'll be in touch." Eli thought it was just a polite way of saying no. But a month later, a call came. He had been selected to represent the Philippines in the America's Got Talent International Audition Special. Lola cried with joy. The community pitched in, neighbors donated clothes, the tricycle drivers held a small fundraiser, even the local priest gave him his blessing. When Eli boarded the plane for the first time, holding a little stuffed bear his grandmother gave him, he whispered a prayer. "For you, Lola." Los Angeles was overwhelming. Bright lights, tall buildings, everything felt like a movie. But Eli kept his focus. When his turn came to perform on the AGT stage, he walked out barefoot, his shoes too tight, his heart pounding in his chest. Simon Cowell raised an eyebrow. "You're from the Philippines?" "Yes, sir," Eli said softly. "From Manila. And what will you sing?" Eli smiled nervously. "Hotel California." The band started to play. Eli strummed his guitar. His voice, small at first, grew stronger with each word. The crowd leaned in. His tone was raw, not polished, not perfect, but every note told a story of survival, of hope, of love for his grandmother waiting oceans away. Midway through the performance, the lights dimmed slightly, and Eli closed his eyes, his voice cracking as he sang the line, "You can check out any time you like, but you can never leave." The audience rose to their feet, clapping rhythmically. One of the judges, tears streaming down her face, whispered, "He's singing his heart out." And then, out of nowhere, Heidi Klum slammed her hand on the golden buzzer. Golden confetti rained down as Eli fell to his knees, overwhelmed. His hands covered his face as the crowd erupted in cheers. The judges rushed forward, hugging him. Simon smiled, a rare genuine smile, and said, "Eli, that was magic. You reminded us what music is truly about." Back in Manila, Lola watched the clip on a neighbor's TV. She sobbed uncontrollably as she saw her grandson standing in a storm of gold, his eyes lifted to heaven. After the show, Eli's life changed forever. Sponsors reached out. People from all over the world shared his video, calling him the boy with the golden voice from the slums. But fame never changed him. When he returned to Manila, he didn't buy luxury, he rebuilt the old houses in his neighborhood, gave food to children, and made sure his Lola could finally rest without worrying about tomorrow. Years later, Eli stood on the same street where he used to sing for coins. This time, a crowd had gathered, not to pity him, but to celebrate him. He sang Hotel California once again, but now his voice carried not just sorrow, but gratitude, the sound of a dream fulfilled. He looked up at the sky and whispered, "This is for you, Lola." The story of Eli became more than a viral sensation. It became a symbol of hope, proof that even from the poorest corners of the world, a voice can rise.